is exceptionally unintelligent. Yet SpongeBob, he never gets frustrated with him. Some people may say that he is just naive and ignorant to always be thinking this happily, but in truth, nothing bad at all ever results from his cheerful persona. All that the children watching the show notice is happy endings and good times. With that said, I truly think that there is so much for us to learn from this little guy. Of course, he doesn't have to deal with nearly the same amount of struggles that today's world throws at us, but he does have his own problems. Like, say, when his house got eaten by nematodes, or his incessant inability to pass his driver's test. Does he give up and feel sorry for himself? Of course not. He perseveres. And eventually, what happened? His house grew back, sure enough, and he never stopped going to boating classes, no matter how many times he failed that test.
This is
what the show is teaching our kids. Not that their house is going to get eaten, of course, but to always hope things will turn better, and to work hard towards that goal. It's what they are learning, but it's also something that the older generations are quickly forgetting. Unlike him, we humans get so high-strung on the typical toxins of today's world. And maybe there are some of you who think I don't know what I'm talking about because I've only been here for 18 years, and I couldn't possibly know real stress. But I can assure you, I've been there too. I've had to deal with deaths, fights, crises, and all kinds of struggles. But the biggest thing I've taken from all of that is that being chronically upset is certainly not going to fix a single thing. In fact, I actually think it makes it a lot worse. I suppose that I'm a very lucky person to have been able to discover this so young, because many people never have this kind of epiphany. And I'm sure they never took the chance to go back into their childhood and watch some of their favorite TV shows either. It's just taken me until right now to realize that your own happiness really is essentially all that matters.
You can live your life.
You can live your life in a ditch, miserable, like Squidward. But Squidward's happy that way. That's how he wants to live his life. So who really cares, right? He does what makes him happy, and he doesn't harm a single soul by doing it. These programs that we put our youth in front of do have hidden meanings. And no, I'm not talking about all the innuendos in Disney movies that I just started to pick up on a few years ago. What I am talking about is the important life lessons that these shows are instilling in our kids, but that we, as adults, are slowly but surely abandoning. The show SpongeBob SquarePants has also taught me to laugh at simpler things in my mature age. There are many people, or I prefer the term cynics, that think SpongeBob's everlasting happiness is a negative quality, and that it could lead to his downfall. And I'm sure they're quite a contemptuous crowd, because this is some very valuable stuff. The jokes are so innocently hilarious, and their adventures are revolutionary. So maybe you do have to channel your inner 7-year-old in order to get past all that and enjoy the show. But is that really such a bad thing? I think that it's actually healthy practice every once in a while. When most people think back on those days, they think of them as the good old days. And usually it's because there were no real problems. And the show SpongeBob SquarePants perpetuates those days. We need to do whatever is going to make us happy, be it short term or long term. And SpongeBob truly does not lend a thought for even a second what other people are going to think about him. This could only improve our lifestyles. None of us realized this when we were watching the show, but we were, for lack of a better term, getting brainwashed to think positively and to never lose that little kid inside of us. I have personally taken this theory to heart, and I've tried my best to adopt SpongeBob's happy-go-lucky attitude. I have advanced calculus every Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. sharp. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an absolutely fantastic class, but you have to agree that that is quite early to require that kind of intellect. So rarely is there a single soul in the classroom that would not rather be in their nice warm covers at home in bed. But when I arrive, you would think that I just touched down in Disneyland, because I plaster this big fake grin on my face, and I declare loud and proud, "Good morning, everybody." This overly zealous greeting is usually met with a few moans, some Snickers here and there, and the typical, "It's just too early for that, Jill." The thing is that it's exactly what I have to do to get myself out of that groggy mood that everyone else is stuck in. And I still get some people to laugh, so it must count for something, right? I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, "If you're not happy, fake it." That's exactly what I have to do that early in the morning. There are plenty of people that would rather be at home, upset, sleeping in their nice warm bed. But no, since I have to be there that early, I might as well find some sort of pleasure in being there. So that's when I'm SpongeBob, annoyingly happy. And everyone else is like Squidward, lifeless and lackluster. And you can go ahead and ask who's going to have the better morning. I don't mean to sound trite with this glass half full propaganda, but when we're distressed and someone tries to tell us to just cheer up because it'll be okay, it doesn't exactly always go over well. There was a quote I found online. I don't remember the author. I just remember the quote. And it was that there are so many people angry at a world that isn't the least bit angry at them. No, we aren't like SpongeBob. We do have serious conflicts, and we can't always be a great big bundle of joy. But what we can do is make sure that we are genuinely happy with our lives, and that we are sending ourselves in the right direction, just like SpongeBob. That's really just the jackpot. Once you figure out how you can do that for yourself, you've hit it right on. And if you haven't figured out how to do that yet, then the next time that your favorite childhood television show is playing, you should put it on, because it could help you get on your way to true happiness.
If you could stay seated and enjoy the music of Kyle Brzezowski while we tabulate this year. Essayist winners, I'd like to thank the preliminary and final judges. There were a few omissions in the program. For preliminary judges, thank you to Mr. Boda, Ms. Koski, and Mr. Irwin. The final judges for the essays were Mrs. Barbara Kenzier, Mr. Roger McQuiggan, and Ms. Lisa Jean Cole. And now in fourth place, with A Scout is Prepared, Casey Watts. In third place, for Innocent Ignorance, Evan James. In second place, for the Second Amendment 2.0, Peter Peach. And in first place for A House in Coventry, Emily Schmidt. All right, I would also like to thank our speaking preliminary judges, who went through many rounds early and after school and whenever we could fit in a few. Mrs. Kat Ragazzino, myself, Ms. Massiano, and Ms. Roman. And our final mystery judges, whose names are printed right here the whole time. Platt High School Principal, Mrs. Donna Aducci-Mick. Associate Superintendent, Mr. Robert Angeli. And current Washington Principal and future Platt Principal, Mr. Robert Montague. In fourth place, with Harry Potter and the Battle versus Twilight, Brendan Mitchell. In third place, with Yellow is the Color of Happiness, Jillian Pascal. In second place with the abolition of machine, Evan James. And in first place with I Can't Take This Anymore, Nicole Carbone. If we could have all our essayists, speakers, and their parents stand for one final recognition. Thank you very much. Please join us upstairs for refreshments.